The next important display property is flex. In my opinion, this is most important display property. Flex property is as much responsive as grid property. The flex property aims at providing a more efficient way to lay out, align and distribute space among items in a container, even when their size is unknown and/or dynamic. Let's dive into the example. Delete all the code. Now assign this class to a div. Create a class with display property as flex. Create 4 more class with height, width, and background color. Let's create 4 div with their class inside the parent div. This 4 div will act as children to flex property. Let's save and see the output. Great. Let's remove the display flex property and see the output. There is no display property assigned now, so the default display block property is assigned. And hence the result. Undo the changes and let us use the flex direction property. Flex direction property allows you to control how the child in the flex container display. Do you want them left to right, right to left, top to bottom, or bottom to top? Let's see all the values of flex direction one by one. The default value of flex direction is row. To view the children in column, set the value to column. To reverse the arrangement of children, use column reverse. Same for reversing row, use row reverse property. This would have been quite difficult job if flex was not introduced. The next flex property is justify content. Justify content is a property to align items horizontally. Flex start is the default value for justify content. The flex start value aligns the flex items at the beginning of the container. The flex end value aligns the flex items at the end of the container. The center value aligns the flex items at the center of the container. In space around, items are evenly distributed in the line with equal space around them. In space evenly, items are distributed so that the spacing between any two items and the space to the edges is equal. In space between, it displays the flex items with space between the lines. This were the important justify content values. The next flex property is align items. Justify content is a property to align items horizontally, then align item is a property to align items vertically. In order to use align items, the flex container should have a height defined, or else this property won't work. Let's set a height for our container. The flex start value aligns the flex items at the beginning of the container vertically. The flex end value aligns the flex items at the end of the container vertically. The next value is center, which aligns the flex items in center vertically. The stretch value stretches the flex items to fill the container, but this only works when the height is not present in flex item. Let's remove the height from the children. Great. The next important property is flex wrap. Flex container by default will try to fit all elements into one row. However, you can change this with the flex wrap property. Let us create 4 more div and assign class to them for better explanation. The first value of flex wrap is no wrap. It is the default value of flex wrap. This will cause everything to stay in one row from left to right. Next is wrap. This value will allow flex items to pop to the next row if there is not enough room on the first row. The items will be displayed from left to right. If we resize the browser, the wrap property handles the position of flex items. Last one is wrap reverse. This value allows items to pop to the next row if there is not enough room on the first row, but this time the items are displayed from right to left. The next flex property is align self. Align self allows you to adjust the alignment of a single flex item vertically inside a flex container. A flex item can independently choose its alignment. Align self has all the same properties of align items such as center, flex start, flex end, baseline. The align self property overrides the flexible containers align items property. Let's see one by one. The child will be aligned to start of the first row. The child will be aligned to end of the first row. The child be aligned to the center, but nothing happens because the align item property is already centered aligned. The child will be aligned to end of the first row. The child will be aligned to end of the second row. That's all for the flex.